Welcome back to the Film Alchemist podcast, the show where we take the movies we love, break them apart, to find out what gives them their magic. I'm your host, Josh Grivy, joined as always by my friend, returning co-host on this journey through the horror beast, right? This descent into madness, Carmelita Valdez McKoy. Welcome back. Thank you for joining us again. We have come to the end of the road. As you guys know, this is the October Mega Marathon. So we hope that you've been enjoying all the franchises we've done. That's finishing out the Omen franchise, Reanimator, and we're ending on Critters, right? Quite a mix. So I hope you've enjoyed our discussions of those series. Thank you guys for listening. Carmelita, you were kind enough to come and do Critters. We have hit the end. You guys know the deal. 31 days, 31 pods. So this is going to end the franchise coverage opener. And after this, we will get into a more kind of episodic, different guest, one-off kind of movies. And to get all 31, we have to do some business. Go to patreon.com/filmalchemistpod. Support the show. It's the absolute best way to support the show, I promise you. It means the world to us to have your support over there. And it's the only way to get all of the movies for the October Mega Marathon. 2 movies and a feature-length commentary reside over there. We have a huge Patreon-exclusive library, mini-series, all kinds of fun stuff. Wonderful community we're developing over there that we need you to be a part of. So why would you not get all 31 pods? We did the work. Why would you
want them all?
Yeah,
you want them all.
Couple dollars, and you can help the show and help yourself. And that would mean the world to us. Thank you. In advance, go to the YouTube Film Alchemist, the email filmalchemistpod@gmail.com. We're on all the socials you're on. Make sure you go to TikTok especially. Help us out over there. TikTok, Instagram, all the cool stuff that we're doing. Cool people stuff that we're a part of now. Make sure you leave a 5-star rating and review on every podcatcher, wherever you listen to us. That helps us with the algorithm. The will not let an IP go gently into the night algorithm. That's the world we live in. Also, make sure you're going to misfitparade.net. Check out the movies that I'm making. Our film is out at festivals right now. I might be in a town near you and would love to hang out and watch the movies with you. So misfitparade.net, join the parade over there. Also, check out the video content work I'm doing for Looper. All right. Looper. Did I say that right? Yeah, Looper.
Yeah.
It's not a hard word. I'm traumatized, Carmelita. I've hit the end of the road. Here's what I'll say.
It's the bitter end for Critters.
2019 Critters Attack. Yeah, bitter end feels like an appropriate way to phrase this, right? This has the very sci-fi movie of the week kind of feel. Sci-Fi Channel, that is.
Yeah.
I'll say
because they bought the rights.
I'll say this. You can tell it immediately when you watch it.
Yeah.
I still like this better than Critters 3.
Do you?
So I'll get a compliment in right off the bat. There's way more. Let's just go through it. This has the largest body count by a lot. This has the most kills in a Critters movie. This might have more kills in this movie than the entire franchise combined. So that's something.
Yeah.
Unlike Critters 3, they give us something new, even if we're like, we don't want it. In Queen Bianca.
Oh, God. No.
Yeah, there's and here's the thing. The puppets look fantastic, right?
Yes.
So there are some compliments right off the bat. I don't think it's the worst Critters movie. I think that's clearly Critters 3. A lot of kills. We get a lot of critters chewing, and even if they're not killing, they're munching on a lot of people.
Yeah.
They're killing each other a lot. We see a ton of critters killed. It's tough. It's tough when you hit these periods of the franchise. What was always a star of the franchise, the casting feels not as magical this time.
Yes.
Dee Wallace returns as someone named Aunt Dee, who I'm assuming is not the mom from the first one, or maybe she has lived a hard life. She's kind of like the returning lady in the new Texas Chainsaw movie, where you're like, I guess it's Sally, but
not
in what way?
Yeah.
We don't do anything to earn. So Dee Wallace is just back. Maybe it's like a Lynn Shay. She's just back as a new character.
Yeah.
It's a real hodgepodge that just says you will enjoy some Critters mayhem, right? It's like a YouTube fan film, essentially, is what this plays.
Yeah.
So Carmelita, opening thoughts. I mean, this is it. This is our last
This is
Ride
it.
with the critters unless you see this and you're like, you know what I want? A TV show that looks like that. Which I didn't. But maybe I will. Carmelita, opening thoughts on Critters Attack. Here, let me ask you this. I'll just start you here. Do you think it earns the exclamation point? Or should it be Critters Attack? Question mark.
Yeah, maybe. Well, no, they definitely attack.
They do attack.
So if that question mark, if we're exclaiming that the critters attack, they do in fact attack. You're right. This has the highest body count, definitely.
Yep.
Probably more than the rest of the films combined. So the critters do attack in this, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, here's the thing. And I was thinking about kind of the ebb and flow of, and this, I mean, this probably happens in lots of other genres, but definitely in horror, the ebb and flow of the tone and the approach to horror, how it changes over the decades, and you get periods where there's more comedy horror and certain types of comedy. Comedy is another thing, actually, and that's one of the aspects of this installment of the franchise that didn't really work for me. The comedy in this is kind of that, like, oh, people being awkward in a conversation.
Yeah, it's
not really
starting
funny
to feel, which is weird because I don't think that's what you see on the screen, but it feels like a CW thing.
Yeah.
Where like you're casting like hot young people.
Yeah.
Which isn't visually what it looks like all the time, but the comedy is not funny.
It's not funny.
Like there are very few like kind of beautiful young hot people that are funny. Like there's a reason for that, right?
Yeah.
That's not their job. But like when the guy takes his shirt off and he's like, I'm really fast, I'll go get the keys. You're like, that's supposed to be like a hilarious moment, and then he just gets run over by a crite ball.
That part's awesome.
That part's cool. Like, I'm always down for a crite ball eating. We don't really see the aftermath, which sucks. But in that moment, you're like, oh, they thought this was going to be like, and we were going to be laughing into the crite ball and then cheering. No. You're like, oh, it's big swings and misses like that.
Yeah.
It's not very funny at all, right? And I think that's hard for even stuff like Critters 4 wasn't trying to be very funny.
No.
Right? Critters 3 was trying to be funny. And I think you'd say to like some results, like Leo was good at that, right? Like they had some characters that could, the grandma and grandpa. This one just doesn't have, we have sci-fi only in set dressing. We have horror only in set dressing. And we have like everything is just kind of there because it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
But you can't tell what the kind of idea or vision for this was beyond. It felt like those kind of like Canadian sci-fi series that like you would find in the 90s where it's like, what's this show? It's about people. And you're like, all right, it has like makeup. I'll watch it. Right. And it's like Queen Bianca is really the only reason this exists.
Can we...
Yeah. Did we want, like, I knew we were battling toxic masculinity in our culture. Did we think Critters would be the one to solve it?
I mean, this late in the franchise.
Yeah.
Do we really need to go back to Gremlins and try to take the Mogwai idea and then ramp it up even further? Because Bianca, for anyone who's
also just like
this,
why is it Bianca? Why? Like there's not like a cool alien name. Like she's a queen. They don't have a
because Bianca means white.
Is that true?
Yeah,
I thought it was Blanco.
Well, yeah. I mean, I can't remember Bianca which language it means white, but yeah.
Oof.
And the critter is white.
Oof. It's
so dumb. It's so dumb.
It's okay. So the critters themselves, the Krites, look pretty great in this. The puppets move pretty. Like even that first kill, right? We see the Krite's hand come in and grab some stuff.
Cool.
You're like, all right, they're doing good. The puppets look great. Then you see Bianca, and you're just like, oh my god, no.
It's like a
this is the great swing and miss in the whole franchise.
it's
Of
the
all
worst
the
part.
things I didn't like in Critters 3, right?
Yeah.
Like the farting and bubble burping. This is the worst thing that Critters ever
Yes.
showed us. Like
Yes.
it's so, because essentially she sits in a bag for most of the movie like a kind of like flea market Grogu. And then she comes out and gets like a little bit longer claws and red eyes, and she kills some stuff, but never in a way that like we really see it. Like she's slashing heads off. They hint at this, oh, is she or isn't she a good guy? And you're like, well, if she's not good, this is the most boring fucking movie ever made.
Right.
Like we get it. Also, if she is good, it's the most boring decision.
Yeah.
So it's really like an unwinnable equation they set up. But the puppet looks so fucking stupid. Whenever they hold on it, and it's doing these like, it's like a mix of like baby needs milk eyes mixed with like streetwalker fuck me eyes.
Yes.
And you're like, it doesn't work. It's not right.
Bianca.
Yeah.
Queen Krite. Yeah, it has gigantic round eyes and these huge eyelashes.
The fact that it doesn't have comically huge hairy tits is almost like a mercy from the universe.
Well, yes, but
there's a drawing somewhere where that thing has like great tits.
This is the design that they want to pitch toys to 7-year-old girls.
But what kind of toys and to who? That's the question.
Well, yeah. So I mean, it's laughably.
I don't know if you had this. Me and my friends have all had the would you or wouldn't you with the lady gremlin. Right? Like at the end of part 2, when she catches the security guy in the bathroom, they get the sense they're definitely going to like, it's happening. And we all were kind of like,
so what was the
Bianca.
Consensus? What was the consensus? I'm curious now.
So consensus in my friend group was like, well, no one else has banged a gremlin. So yeah.
Sure.
Or they have, but it's like a small club through history, right? Wherever a gremlin infestation happened. Bianca does not get that benefit.
No.
Bianca is so bad. And
it's
so
bad.
It's just, I'm trying to think, like if we're being kind to the movie, what on fucking literal Earth, planet Earth, where this movie happens, do you think they thought this was adding? We don't get them talking in Krite language about the political backlash of this. This is a queen who crosses the cosmos on her own to destroy male members of her species that do not recognize her crown.
It's weird.
What in the actual fuck do you think?
It makes no sense.
Was the point of this? Short of, they're going to do like a, Land of the Lost and one of the aliens is now on our team. Like, what do you think was... Why? Why Bianca? Why is Bianca?
I mean, I could come up with a lot of cynical answers. Merchandising,
I get your point, like merchandising, but this also is a movie that's not gonna probably do well enough to drive merchandising.
Here's
numbers.
Another one, and I hope this isn't it. So we have three of the most prominent characters, even though Dee Wallace doesn't get a lot of screen time, she's a badass. 3 of the most prominent and we're led to believe capable or smart characters are women.
Yeah.
These teenage girls, a preteen girl, and then Dee Wallace. I wonder if they thought, okay, some executive somewhere, and maybe I'm being an asshole, but I don't trust these people. What if their idea was, okay, girl power, we need more strong women characters in horror films. We need to ride this wave of girl power. And they said, well, we need a cute Krite to bring in the feminine energy appeal to women. Are you kidding me?
You know what? I would bet you're 100% right in that cross somewhere. The thing is, they never gave me the Avengers Endgame moment where all the lady characters get together.
No.
And Rocket, if the movie has a big problem, besides Bianca is the fucking pits.
It's like the greatest sin.
the actual dark infinite abyss that like I will scream into every time I think of Critters from now on.
Yeah.
Because I had never seen this, so this just didn't
Me
exist
either.
in my mind, and now it does. It's a literal, like you're in a hotel room and you find a big white stain on the mattress, and you're like, well, my trip is ruined. That's how it feels now. There's a big white stain on the Critters franchise that I'll never unsee.
Accurate.
It's so disjointed. Drea's storyline about she's trying to get into college, she's trying to work her way through college, whatever. She has a friend who's there who's kind of bitchy to her because she's not in college. There's an uncle who wants to kind of help her out, who may have had a drinking problem, a mom who died. They're both fighting over whose fault it is, a brother who wants to believe in aliens. Dee Wallace just has a bunker and is walking around with alien tech, and maybe is someone we know from the franchise and they don't talk about it, and babysitting.
Right.
None of these things feel like they're in the same movie. So it's almost we jump from scene to scene to scene, and it feels like you're in new stories. The stories almost never coalesce into something that has any kind of propulsive value. Yeah. There's no reason to do anything in this movie other than just, I mean, they could be different characters in every scene, and I don't think this movie changes in any verifiable way. This could have just been like Attack on a Campus and just jump from like dorm room to dorm room to dorm room, and I don't think you would be able to tell. The characters are so fucking flat. And even when the uncle dies and he's like, it was actually me. You know, you blame yourself, but it was me. Mom had to come get me from the bar. And I'm like, okay, like you were an adult who's drinking at a bar and getting a DD. That's safe driving. Like what? Okay. Like you didn't drive drunk, so it's your fault.
Right.
What? Like what the fuck? In that moment, like it should matter, right? That her uncle's dying, right? They start the movie, and when he's talking to her by the car side about, hey man, like you didn't get into this school, it's fine. Sometimes things happen. There's like real like kind of family stuff they're building. Yeah. That's the core of every Critters movie.
Yes. Falls apart.
Doesn't matter.
Well,
doesn't matter.
Your point got me thinking about all trying to bring in all these different elements and not really committing to something that then it feels disjointed. I was thinking about the different settings in this movie, and usually in a Critters movie there's like one focal setting. Farmhouse,
apartment building, spaceship. That's it. Each one's essentially like a place.
And this one, it's like they talk so much about this college campus, and we go back to this college campus, but it isn't really about the college campus. We start the movie at this farmhouse, but we don't ever really go back to the farmhouse. We go to Drea's work, the sushi restaurant.
Yeah.
But we go back to it, but that's not what the focal point is either. There's too many different, because any one of those would work as being like, this is where the siege takes place.
Right. Here's an exact example, right? To put a really fine head on this. The uncle who owns the sushi restaurant where she works, right? He loses his nephew in the first scene of the movie because he went out for a delivery. He sees a asteroid and gets eaten, right? Fine. Moments after her uncle dies, this guy's like, oh, my nephew died too. And he's like, that's my nephew. So he goes into Uncle Rage mode. And there's a cool scene where like he uses, best knife in the business. He cuts a Krite's head off. You're like, that's cool. But you're like, why are we doing double uncles?
Yeah.
Why are we doing two uncle beats? Like, what is that doing to, like, why are we splitting the moments between two characters? Whereas if that was one character, maybe, you get that depth that we managed to find in other Critters movies.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And again, it's one of those, I hate to say that it's just doing more Critters attacks hurt the movie because that's all I've ever wanted. I don't think it's the Critter attacks. I think it's there's way too many of them. Like the admissions lady and her two kids offer nothing to the movie. Zero. There's like a weird, like, does her daughter and the alien brother hit it off? And you're like, who cares? None of them matter to the movie. Like, all of the kids could have been out of the movie. Why wasn't it just like her and her college friend? and
Right.
her uncle who's a cop who's trying to, figure this out. Like, shrink that fucking cast
Yes.
down to nothing.
Yes.
If it's Dee Wallace, why is she not like, oh, these are my grandkids, my whole family's gone, right? Critters drove us to the edge of madness. I'm the last one, so she's like the protective mama bear now of this girl who can't get into college. And like, shrink this shit down. If you only have, to put some math on, like, let's say you have like 10 moments that matter in the film, why would you spread them over 14 to 20 characters?
Yeah.
You spread that over 3 characters, now you've got a movie. And you just erase Bianca. Get that out of there.
Get it out of there.
Get that out
Get
of
it
there.
out of there. It's bad.
Right? Like, we saw what Aliens earned by adding a queen. This is like the exact opposite of that.
It's the exact
It's
opposite.
So bad.
It's
but I think
bad.
that's the thing, right? The characters are too small and inconsequential.
Yeah.
The legacy sequel stuff doesn't matter, nor is it even necessarily a legacy, right? If Dee Wallace isn't Dee Wallace, other than people that are really into critters, no one's going to recognize that, right?
Yeah.
It's not funny. It's not scary. It's not, the sci-fi is uninteresting. So they had these things that could have worked, right? The science fiction of figuring out Krite society could work. Like, what if they had done a Sasquatch Sunset movie where it was just Krites for the whole movie?
Yeah.
Just Krites. That's something, right? And they want to kill all these people, really go in on the horror of it. Great. If you want it to be funny, cast funny people, right?
Yes.
Like, there are movies they wanted to make, but I think that the sin of Critters Attacks, and again, all this said, it's still better than Critters 3 to me. Because at least it gives me critter shit.
Yeah.
The sin is that it's so half-asses it's the old joke, right? Don't half-ass something, whole-ass something, right?
Mm-hmm.
It half-asses or less the story, the characters, the Krites, all of the genres, and the franchise at whole. It's hard to sit here, and I hate doing this. I hate when we get deep in the franchise.
I know.
And we are just pulverizing a movie that is just trying to make a Critters movie, right? And I guess you could say that's the nice thing. There's critters everywhere. We got to see people just murdering critters and critters blowing up from sound. But even that, the critters blow up from sound is a fucking ridiculous thing to add into Critters.
That's dumb.
What did we see in Critters 3? The critters call each other with a super loud, high-pitched sound and do not die. So it's just a basic, like, you didn't go back and watch Critters before you made a Critters movie.
But they insulated themselves from this criticism. If you go on the WB, because Warner Brothers distributed this.
Yeah.
And Sci-Fi was involved here. Sci-Fi had the rights. If you go on the Warner Brothers website and read the description of Critters Attack, it says, inspired by the cult favorite film. Right? So they're trying to...
So this is just fanfic, yeah.
Yeah, it's like we want Critters fans to be interested, but we don't want you to hold us accountable for the canon and
yeah, but you don't want to watch 4 fucking movies. Like, do you think people defend the canon of Critters?
No.
Like Star Wars?
No.
No,
but it's
just watch the 4 movies.
Yes. It
like,
should
why
be...
is the uncle who's the sheriff not Bradley?
I don't know.
Why is he not Bradley? Take Dee Wallace's character out and just have Bradley, now a grizzled old man. Like, fuck, I'm still dealing... That's what I mean. Yeah. You can watch 4 fucking movies. We're not asking you to do like drop in the middle of Game of Thrones and like thread the needle. That's it. Just pretend that if you're going to make an IP property, right? So you have fucking Critters, right? Why make a Critters movie if you don't want to make a fucking Critters movie?
Yes.
Why not just call it anything else and just design your own puppets, right? You want us people who see Critters and get excited to come watch your movie, but you don't honor the ride that we've been on. That's insane to me. Like, that really is like hard to stomach in my brain.
Mm-hmm.
Why is this happening?
Yeah, and it seems pretty clear to me, and I this is me making inferences. I don't know much about the filmmakers involved here, the writer or the director. But
Feels
just
like
from
a job.
yes, yes. Just based on what I see on the screen, the finished product, this feels like the media corporation wanted another Critters movie, but they also wanted to appeal to a younger audience, young women, teen girls. We want to bring in they're, it's financially motivated. I mean, every film is, but
it's hard because you're like, people who like Critters are a small group and an older group, man.
Yes.
Like, you don't have to do a lot. Again, if it was just Bradley,
yeah,
and you don't do Bianca, I think that solves a lot of the horse shit of the movie. Shrink
so
the cast,
many
cast
problems.
all new, cast your Ripley, cast Drea, cast all these
Yeah.
young people, reboot it into like the new Critters Hunter. Like that's not the problem with the film. It's that it's just so unthought out.
Yeah.
Right? It just exists to be a movie that loosely resembles something I like. And that's the biggest sin of movies to me, is when you can tell the people making it don't have a passion for it.
Yeah.
And the fact that they don't even think of something like sound killing critters is fucking stupid.
Yeah.
Or that we would like Bianca, that hurts. Even Bianca, I can justify that in my brain as, all right, there's a queen and we're seeing a female. It's like a Smurfette thing. Okay, fine. I could even stomach that.
I wasn't expecting to hear Smurfette.
Yeah, right?
Today,
it's weird that like the Smurfs and the Gremlins and the Critters, why is there only one lady? Why is it like 10,000 dudes to one lady, right? Like, fine. Okay. Xenomorph's the same. I can stomach Bianca because it comes from a place of expanding mythology, right? Sure. The sound thing is just such an easy thing to not fuck up. Like, they clearly just did not care. It's kind of why Quiet Place drives me nuts. Because it's like Quiet Place, like, oh, we can kill them with high-pitched sounds. You're like, all right, well, when in the new trailer they attack New York City, there would be sirens everywhere. All those aliens would die. If their hearing is that good, the chaos and carnage of all of New York City falling would hurt them. Like when Zod gets hearing in Superman for the first time. If they can hear that well, they could hear our heartbeats. So it doesn't matter if we play fabric. It's just one of those things where it's, all right, I have to push away all these thoughts. This is a stupid fucking setup that doesn't work. We are a world of nonstop sound. So sound can't be like the downfall of whatever.
Right.
But that movie at least like uses the premise. If you allow it the premise, it uses it pretty well. This one, 0.
Yeah.
0.
Yeah.
0. And it that's the kind of pain of a Critters attack. To me, if you're going to make a movie, right? Like I always think of Scott Derrickson when they did Hellraiser Inferno, right? The detective one. Yeah. That's like a really weird, interesting story in the middle of the Hellraiser franchise, right? It might not be everyone's favorite, but it fucking went for it. It did something.
Yes.
That's what you're looking for, right? I'm not expecting it to match the grandiosity of the first one.
No.
Show me that you're at least, if not a fan, you're at least someone who's going to take the job and you're going to think about this universe.
Yeah.
I can tell this was so unthought out. Like there was no thought put into what the Krites are, what they mean, why is this it's just put fluff balls out there and have them do whatever. And that lack of passion is the sin of Critters Attack. And now that we're at the end of the franchise, right? You hope, I don't know, I guess, do you hope there's more?
That's a good question. I mean, this Charlie and Ugg aside, this franchise could get away with having kind of a new family introduced or a new setting introduced. It's kind of built into the franchise. I think they could do another Critters movie because it doesn't have to be these characters again. We never have to see them again. But to your point, if someone's going to do it, there needs to be some genuine interest and commitment. There needs to be some passion. Like, would I watch another Critters movie? Yeah, I would.
Mm-hmm.
But it would be important, if you really want to keep making these movies, you're gonna have to have people involved that are actually interested in the Critters franchise, that actually care about this,
mm-hmm.
that want to further the story.
I guess that's my thing. I always am down for another ride in a horror franchise, because I think as fears and these things change, there's always, and again, Critters was never worried about fear. Horror was always probably the least of the three pillars, right? The comedy, sci-fi, and horror. Horror was always the least important one to Critters, right?
Yeah.
I still think they can be scary. I still think they can be a great place to put a movie where you have a lot of fucking fun, right? Something like Slither, right? Just aliens coming to town and fucking changing the dynamics of a place will always be fun. So you have to imagine that if someone did a Critters that gave a fuck, and again, I don't think it's about being true to canon or anything like that. Just be a fan of the movie. Like, don't make it like a direct, like, we don't fucking care. We're just here to make it. I think there's a world where I would be excited to see more Critters.
Yeah.
And maybe that's the problem and why we get these movies, is because once we like these franchises, they know we're going to watch anyways.
Yes.
Whatever the fuck they put out, we're going to watch.
It's true.
So maybe it's us, right? Until we start saying no to bad ones. I don't know. Because you want more, you have to watch them. But then if they're not good, you're kind of... It's hard. It's a hard spot for us fans.
Yeah. It's a tightrope. It's a razor's edge.
It is. It absolutely is. That's it for Critters franchise, man. We're going to put this one to bed. That's it for all the franchises this month. We are about halfway through the October Mega Marathon, people. I hope you've enjoyed it as much as we have so far. You know the deal. 31 days, 31 pods. We're knee-deep in the horror beasts. Many, many awesome guests and friends and wonderful movies yet to come. 3 of which are on patreon.com/filmalchemistpod. Please go find those, support the show, help us out, help grow the show over there. Means the world to us, right? We would appreciate it. So go do that. Make sure you check us out on YouTube, Film Alchemist. Check us out on all the socials, including TikTok. Help us there. Email the show, filmalchemistpod@gmail.com. Leave ratings and reviews. Go to misfitparade.net to see our movies. See if you can come watch them with us. Check out the video work on Looper. And follow our friend and savior, Carmelita, on Letterboxd and Twitter @Carmelita Says. Thank us later.
That's me.
Thank you so much for always helping out, the third co-host of the Film Alchemist.
It is always an honor and a pleasure, my friend. Always.
For us too. Thank you. It wouldn't be October without you. So
this is
we
my
appreciate
favorite.
You very much.
This is my favorite October Halloween tradition.
It is. And it's going to be awesome. I hope you guys will join us for the rest of it. We'll see you tomorrow.